Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer, and I'm happy to support the amendment in Jackie Bailey's name on behalf of the Scottish Labour Party. The SNP's descent into chaos in recent months has certainly brought the dark underbelly of their party management into the light of day. But the culture of secrecy, spin and cover-up has been far-reaching, and as Jackie Bailey rightly pointed out, has stretched the gap between party and government. And that does require remedy, it requires scrutiny, and it does require the measures outlined in Labour's amendment today. I would say it's been a debate of rather dubious standard at point, because these are incredibly serious issues. But there has been, I'm afraid, no shortage of audacity from the Tory benches. Russell Finlay, in particular, to cite Orwell. Well, I'm reminded, I enjoy talking to you. Your mind appeals to me. It resembles my own, except that you happen to be insane, George Orwell said. And when you hear Willie Rennie and Ross Greer recounting the VIP lane stuffed with Kremlin money, I think it's right that these points are made in riposte to where the Tory motion is coming from today. But the backbenches of the SNP have been rather remiss, it's fair to say as well, and the Minister in his opening, in the lack of recognition from the lack of transparency from this government over many years, the surprisingly thin paper trail on the decision of what to award ferry contracts to Ferguson shipyard, reports from Audit Scotland by almost too numerous to mention, calling on the Scottish Government to improve transparency, particularly with regard to how they spend taxpayers' money. A paucity of data on how nearly £5 billion of COVID-19 funding to support businesses was actually spent. And again, as my colleague Jackie Bailey highlighted, the SNP's government's dissembling their dishonest and duplicitous approach to the provision of documentation in the Salmond inquiry, with that committee facing obstruction at every turn. And so they may take the exploitation of lobbying register loopholes, meaning that in 2020 alone, hundreds of meetings between Scottish Government's ministers and lobbyists were not registered. And a fully contemptuous approach to freedom of information requests, not at this moment, thank you, a contemptuous approach to freedom of information requests, culminating most shamefully in their failure to disclose COVID-19 data and modelling, and that cover-up then challenged by the Scottish Information Commissioner, saying that the lack of compliance found there was a strong public interest in publishing that data. It's absolutely clear, Presiding Officer, that when we come to warnings about patient safety from staff and patients at Queen Elizabeth University Hospital that were covered up in NHS Greater Glasgow and Clyde, they were aided and abetted by the then Health Secretary, Humza Yousaf. And he failed to remove those responsible, backing that culture of secrecy, cover-up and incompetence. And while to most that behaviour showed Mr Yousaf to be unworthy of his position, in the eyes of the SNP High Command it proved he was the ideal candidate, the continuity candidate, capable of ascending to the highest office in the land. But the people of Scotland are not fooled in any of this. They are led by that continuity candidate, and it is infected by the same culture of secrecy, spin and cover-up that has festered at the heart of their party for too long. Again, as Orwell said, the end was contained in the beginning. So the amendment we have from Labour today puts in place serious measures, serious actions that can improve transparency on behalf of the people of Scotland. The good governance of our country and the public services on which we all rely need to see the restoration of integrity and transparency to the heart of government. And Scottish Labour's Stronger Holyrood paper sets out how we would do that and is contained in this amendment today, and I hope the Chamber is able to back it in that spirit.